The critical reviews we used when examining The Great Gatsby were Upper and Middle Class Waste and Destruction by Kurt Kernet and Class and Spiritual Corruption by John W. Bicknell.
Using these articles, we'll examine the theme of class and culture in the novel. This theme is prevalent throughout the novel and is shown by the different characters.
The characters we chose to examine are Myrtle and George Wilson, Jay Gatsby, the Buchanans, and Nick Carraway.
Our first quote was from Kurt Kernet and was, "Fitzgerald filled The Great Gatsby with reverence for luxury."
When we look at the Buchanans and at Gatsby, we see huge amounts of wealth and opulence that are shown off and then thrown away afterward.
We can contrast this to how Myrtle and George live in the Valley of Ashes. We can see the differences between their social classes. The Wilsons do not have the same amount of money as the Buchanans and have nothing to show off.
Myrtle acts as though she has a higher social position than she does, constantly changing clothes and trying to act sophisticated.
When we're first introduced to the Wilsons, we see Myrtle walk through George as though he isn't there and as though he's beneath her.
Also from Kirk Kernet was, in fewer than 5 pages, this lowly mechanic's wife changes clothes 3 times. This shows her obsession with fashion trends and how she sees clothing as a symbol of social status.
Her constant changes of clothing shows a change of personality. She becomes more flighty and superficial every time she changes clothing.
Our final quote from Kurt Kernet was, "Fitzgerald's fiction contains several scenes that convey wonder at the wastage that modern technology made possible in the 1920s.
Gatsby buys things and uses them simply for the sake of appearances. Once he has used them once, he throws them away. Although Nick is wealthy, he lives a simple life in a small bungalow. While the Wilsons do not have wealth, they cannot participate in this opulence."
So our next critical review, Class and Spiritual Corruption, reflects T.S. Eliot's poem Wasteland through symbols and images of waste, desolation, and futility.
Dr. T.J. Eckelberg symbolizes God's eyes looking down onto society's decay.
It shows a moral indifference towards God and God's indifference towards humanity.
The next quote, "The party in Myrtle Wilson's apartment, an image of an action symbolizing hollow lives and empty relationships."
All the happiness that takes place at Myrtle's party, it was incredibly forced. She sees happiness and wealth through the people at the party, but it means absolutely nothing.
Our next quote is, "It is an all too familiar pattern, the rich and powerful maintaining their status by directing middle-class frustration into fratricidal struggles against scapegoats."
Tom manipulates Myrtle Wilson into believing that he loves her and will one day leave Daisy to marry her. He is using her love for him to use her as a sexual release object. He has satisfaction in using people. In this case, he enjoys using Myrtle, a woman of lower social standing than he, to make him feel more powerful.
Daisy leads Gatsby to believe that she will leave Tom for him. However, when it comes down to it, her desire for social status outweighs her love for Gatsby. Tom manipulates George Wilson into believing that Gatsby ran over Myrtle, even though in reality Daisy was the actual driver.
Our final quote is, "He, Gatsby, is blithely confident that he can regain Daisy and their youthful ecstasy merely by displaying to her his ability for conspicuous waste."
Gatsby holds this illusion that all he needs to be upper class is to have a lot of money and to flaunt it in every occasion.
He believes that showing his capacity for waste will draw Daisy back to him. He feels in order to win her back that he must be as superficial as she.
This belief in waste can cause the rich to justify the exploitation of the poor. Their belief in their superiority allows them to ignore the fact that the poor were people with emotions and lives as well.
Fitzgerald has a lot to say about class differences. He shows contempt for the rich, but also shows a longing for their way of life.
We know that Fitzgerald wanted to be part of the upper class, but like Gatsby, he can never truly be a part of it.
In conclusion, The Great Gatsby shows the different social classes and how the levels viewed each other and interacted.
Oh, Ash, oh, how are you? Hello, Miss Downer. I'm sorry, I apologize. How are you today?
Hello, Mr. Tulloch. How are you?
Oh, I this tea is magnificent, I must say. How are you today, my dear?
I'm quite fine, and yes, they have the finest tea, don't they?
Oh, they do. It's marvelous. A bit hot, but yeah, it's craziness.
Yes. So how is the family?
Oh, the family's family's
Can I get you anything?
Please be gone.
What is it with the lower class these days that's broad with a brew? It's as though they don't know our place with you and people, upper class people like you and me. We sit and have a conversation in a restaurant and it's as though they're like gum at the bottom of our shoes. They just come, we step on them, and then of course they can't even get out of our business.
Yes.
Drives me insane.
Yes, gum
They're
on
like
our shoes.
they're like little pretenders who try and be a part of the upper class lifestyle and don't even know how to behave.
Yes,
It's
pretenders.
insane.
I know a couple.
That is good tea. Is something
Yes.
the matter?
No, nothing at all. Yes, so, did you hear about Daisy?
Daisy, what about?
Oh, she's sick. Tom is in a flurry.
What happened?
Oh, they said that, possibly she may be pregnant with a second.
No freaking well. No way. Oh my goodness, that is ridiculous.
Are you sure there's nothing I can get you?
Be gone, peasants.
Yes, possibly a second one is coming on the way.
Oh, goodness.
Yes. Well, I must be on my way.
Oh, where you have to go, my dear?
Oh, my dear, I have an appointment, really, to go to, yes. So, I'm so sorry to end this
No, of
appointment.
course I understand. And what kind of appointment, though?
I have a business appointment, if you know what I mean.
Oh, a
Yes.
business appointment.
Yes.
Speak no more.
Yes. I have a good day.
You as well, my dear.
Goodbye. Move, please.